Hey guys, and welcome to a Waste Explorer tutorial. In this video we are going to show you how to dispose of all the different sorts of waste that you might produce by performing your research in our laboratories. By the end of this video, you will have learned about the different types of lab waste, how to dispose of them, and how to maintain a safe and clean working environment. We will start by showing you each waste station separately, and then we will walk you through the necessary steps and to the precautions to keep in mind when you dispose of your chemical waste or used equipment. In general, we have 5 different lab waste categories. First, the non-hazardous waste. This comprises of anything that is not heavily contaminated with toxic chemicals. Most commonly, paper towels, medical tissues, mechanical pipette tips, caps, and empty plastic containers such as Eppendorf tubes. Second, liquid waste. This includes hazardous and non-hazardous liquid waste, for example oils, organic solvents, and toxic liquid chemicals. Non-hazardous liquid waste includes diluted acid or base solutions with less than 10 volume percentages and buffer solutions. Third, solid waste. This includes solid chemical, drying agents, silica gel, molecular sieves, pre-packed columns, filter material, and heavily contaminated paper towels and gloves. Fourth, broken glassware, which basically includes any type of glassware. And fifth and last, we have sharps. Sharps are extremely dangerous because they can be very small and hard to notice and consequently severely harm other group members or cleaning personnel. These must be thrown in sharps containers. If you are disposing of a needle, you need to put back the needle guard.
The general waste bins can be found all around the lab under each bench, and they will be emptied by the cleaning personnel at least once a week. Here you can dispose of anything that is not heavily contaminated with toxic chemicals, like paper towels, medical tissues, pipette tips, plastic caps, empty plastic syringes without needles, agarose gels, and empty plastic containers such as Eppendorf tubes. Please remember to check that all vials or Eppendorf tubes are empty and that the chemical contamination of the disposed items is minimal. In case you have gloves or other equipment that is severely contaminated, don't throw it in the general waste but in the solid waste bin. Our waste fumant contains 6 different containers from left to right. First, the chlorinated organic solvents. Second, non-chlorinated organic solvents. Third, acid wastes. Fourth, basic wastes. 5, heavy metal wastes. And 6th, solid wastes. In the chlorinated organic solvent container, you can dispose of all chlorine-containing solutions such as chloroform or dichloromethane or chlorinated liquid reagents such as acid chlorides. In the non-chlorinated organic solvent container, on the other hand, you can dispose of all solutions of non-chlorinated solvents like ethanol or acetone or non-chlorinated liquid reagents such as oils. Furthermore, you can use this bin to wash your glassware or equipment with an appropriate solvent. Next, we have the acidic waste container. Here you can dispose of concentrated, which means higher than 10 volume percentages, aqueous solutions of inorganic acids. If you're using concentrated aqueous basic solutions of hydroxides, amines, carbonates, silicates or oxides, on the other hand, you will be using the basic waste container, which is standing right next to the acidic waste. If you're working with heavy metals, you'll be using this bin, the heavy metal waste container. Here you can dispose of all solutions which contain heavy metals such as ruthenium bipyridine, magnetite, silver nitrate, nickel sulfate, or gold and platinum nanoparticle solutions. Due to its toxicity towards living organisms and the environment, we have to ensure that we log every chemical component and their amounts on a list, which is also attached to the fumant sash. Just write down the chemical name, the volume, and the concentration of the solutions you have disposed of. The same applies for both the acidic and the basic waste containers. The bins for broken glassware are the big yellow plastic containers and can be found evenly distributed around the lab. In here you can dispose of all the broken or contaminated glassware that you might come across during your lab work. These include empty vials, Pasteur pipettes, glass slides, or even larger items like beakers, conical flasks or round bottom flasks, and empty chemical or solvent bottles. Please make sure that you don't fill the glass bin up to the brim. Every container has a black mark at around 75% of the volume, which highlights its maximum capacity. As soon as the waste inside reaches the mark, please contact the porters of the School of Chemistry. They will come, dispose of the full bag of broken glassware, and replace it. Furthermore, It is prohibited to throw anything into the glass bin which is not made of glass, such as plastic caps and vials containing liquids or solids. If you need to dispose of a vial, for example, containing a solution, detach the cap from the vial, throw it into the general waste, dispose of the liquid properly, and then throw it into the glass bin. Similarly, if you need to dispose of a solvent bottle, dispose of the plastic cap in the bin and leave the bottle under a fumigate for at least 1 hour so that the residual solvent evaporates. Then you can dispose of the bottle by using the glassware bin. If the bottle contained a hazardous reagent, you must rinse it with an appropriate solvent first and dispose of the hazardous liquid waste properly. Then you can leave the bottle under the fumigate for at least 1 hour before throwing it into the broken glassware bin. Please note that we recycle 2.5 liter solvent bottles. We can either use them to replace full solvent waste containers or we can give them back to the chemical store. So, when the 2.5 liter solvent bottle is empty, please leave it under a fumigate for at least 1 hour so that the residual solvent evaporates, and then put it by the solvent bottle racks found at the central lab entrance. The 2.5 liter plastic bottles of acetone are refillable, so when empty, please keep the cap and put them by the solvent bottle racks as well. The sharps bin is by the window close to the waste fumigate. In here you can throw any clean or contaminated sharp object that you need to dispose of. Needles must be detached from the syringe and the needle guard must be put back on before you dispose of them. Please do not close the container because it has a safety lock that does not allow it to be reopened. If you find one of the sharps bins to be full, then you can close the lid on top and take it to the solvent dispensing facility in the basement of the School of Chemistry. It is prohibited to throw in the sharp bins broken glassware, plastic or glass syringes. These need to be emptied and thrown in the designated waste bins. In some cases, you can also use the sinks to dispose of your waste to avoid unnecessarily overloading the liquid waste containers. The following can only be disposed to the sewer system with copious amounts of water. First, aqueous solutions containing less than 0.01 volume percentages of organic solvents, which excludes chlorinated solvents. Nevertheless, this exception must not be used as an excuse to dilute large quantities of organic solvents down the drains. Second, dilute acid, alkali or ammonia solutions with volume percentages of less than 10%. Third, harmless soluble inorganic salts, including drying agents like calcium chloride, magnesium sulfate, sodium sulfate, and phosphorus oxide. Fourth, hypochlorite solutions from destroying cyanides, phosphines, etc. And fifth, bleach and other household cleaning agents acceptable for drain disposal. You, however, absolutely cannot dispose of the following using the drains. Prescribed substances, like items appearing on the UK Red List 1, including the salts, like mercury compounds, cadmium compounds, etc. Calcium carbide, oil, petroleum spirit and other volatile or flammable organic solvents, cyanides, wastes liable to form viscous or solid deposits on or in any part of the sewage system, ethidium bromide solutions as DNA stain or otherwise, other DNA stains without express specific written permission for that stain from Anglian water, mineral and synthetic oils, substances of a nature likely to give rise to fumes or strong odors, halogenated hydrocarbons, halogen substitute phenolic compounds, thiourea and its derivatives, solutions containing antimony, arsenic, chromium, selenium, and tellurium, organohalogen, organophosphorus or organonitrogen pesticides, triazine herbicides, and any other biocides, poisonous organosilicon compounds, metal phosphides, and elemental phosphorus, and last, regulated poisons.
So now you know about all the different waste stations that we have in our lab. You can see that they're all very easy to handle. Nonetheless, before you go ahead and dispose of your waste, think carefully and use your common sense along with your chemical knowledge. Ask yourself, what is the solvent of the solution? What are the solutes? Does it contain heavy metals? If it is an aqueous solution, what pH is it? What is the concentration of acid or base? And most importantly, does my waste pose any foreseeable risk if combined with other chemicals that are likely to be found inside the waste container? If you're not sure, Ask the people in charge of waste chemical waste or anybody else in the lab. Never do something blindly. Everybody in the lab or in the office will be happy to assist you. If you have found this video useful, please click on the link button below and share it with your colleagues.